Day 2 of the Sepang Test is in the books as the MotoGP riders took to the track again in Sepang and they delivered some sensational lap times with 5 riders going under the outright lap record. Pretty incredible stuff for the second day of MotoGP testing officially. Let's get straight into it. As you can see from the results, it is Enea Bastianini on the Ducati, the track that he won at in 2023. He delivered a 157.134 on his 46th out of 47 laps. So the pace was there for Bastianini at the end of the day. Earlier on in the day, as you can see, Jorge Martin set a 157.2 and it was the benchmark time just on his 9th lap as well. Pretty incredible to be running that pace. Martin did say to the MotoGP broadcast that he felt so good in the morning with the older style fairing. Brad Binder for KTM delivering a sensational lap, a 157.3. Aleix Espargaro a 157.4 on the Aprilia. And Francesco Bagnaia, a great lap from him, beating his own lap record and doing a 157.469. Then just the rest of the top 10. Gian Antonio inside the top 10 again. Alex Marquez inside the top 10 again. Pedro Acosta running sensational pace, a 157.7. That lap, a good stat here, that lap would have put you in 5th position if you had done it in last year's qualifying for the Malaysian Grand Prix. So Acosta is running sensational pace. Marco Bezzecchi in 9th, who suffered a crash late on again today, and Joan Mir in 10th. As you can see, Fabio Quartararo in 11th, Johan Zarco 12th, Alex Rins in 13th, Marc Marquez in 14th. We'll get on to him in a moment. Jack Miller in 15th, Taka Nakagami 16th, 17th was Marini on the Honda, 18th Vinales and Oliveira, 19th for the Aprilia. It seemed that they weren't really doing time attacks today, they were more focused on long runs and short stints as well. Oliveira has said they were testing out various different things. Augusto Fernandez struggled again today in 20th, and Cal Crutchlow, Lorenzo Savadori, Michele Pirro round out the bottom half of the results. We'll get on to the fast laps in a moment, but let's focus on the person in 14th, Marc Marquez. Of course, it is a big talking point no matter what happens in these tests. Everyone has their eyes on Marc Marquez and his adaptation to the Ducati. It appears from what Marc has said today and from what we can see from the numbers, he was solely focused on getting comfortable and doing race simulations on that bike. Simon Crafer said on After the Flag, just as the session was finishing for today, that Marc Marquez was purposely, he believes, going wide at the last corner, not taking the usual line. So he was saying that he was doing it on multiple occasions. He's maybe sandbagging and not really showing his true potential. Now, when I look at Marquez's numbers, from just seeing them on timing, don't have the full sheets available, he did a 10 lap run at the end of the day. So it was as Marc said to MotoGP, he said it was a sprint race style simulation he was doing, and his times looked pretty fast. He was in the 158s pretty much the whole way, except for maybe 1 or 2 of them. Yeah, he looked like he was just getting to grips with that bike, and he didn't do a fast lap today. He did a 158.118 on lap 27, which was his fastest lap of the day. It's just under a second off Enea Bastianini's fastest lap. So when you look at the relative pace, that would be correct. Marquez has had very good pace, and he did say that he is struggling to find that natural position, but little by little they're finding the correct position for the handlebars, how he feels on the bike. He said yesterday he felt quite stiff, wasn't really trying to commit too much, he was riding very smooth. He said the pace is there when he does these longer runs, these race simulation style runs, and I think that's the key for him. He needs to log laps on this bike in race setup, because ultimately when it comes to race time, if you're dialed in that aspect, that is going to make all the difference. Yes, you can be a quick qualifier, but if you don't have the race pace, it doesn't count for anything. So I think Marquez focusing purely on race setup is the perfect place for him to start. He easily could just say, I want to try and find that one lap. I don't think that's his approach, and he certainly doesn't want to be crashing when pushing on the Ducati on his first or second day. He did say that the crash will eventually come, and he did say going in for a time attack when he has tried it, say yesterday, did struggle a little bit to understand the limit, but that will come with time. Moving back to the top of the leaderboard, and as we say, 5 of these riders are under the existing lap record, and as you can see, they are all European manufacturers. Enea Bastianini on the Ducati, Jorge Martin on the Ducati, Binder on the KTM, Espargaro on the Aprilia, and Bagnaia on the Ducati. And I think it's quite a testament to what MotoGP have done. You know, when you think about, we were only in Malaysia a couple of months ago for the Grand Prix, and the pace they're setting now in that couple of months of development is absolutely phenomenal. The pace that they're able to run and the speed they're able to find straight away. Who knows what we're going to see tomorrow? I do think there's a 156 in there easily from someone. It wouldn't surprise me if it was Bastianini or Martin again. But I do think we're going to see some of the riders just, you know, wanting to get that confidence that they do have that one lap pace. When you look inside the top 10, there's no real surprises there. Maybe except for Dwan Mir, who did do a really fast lap time of a 57.8. It's pretty much the usual suspects. But speaking of one lap pace and struggles, Fabio Quartararo says that Yamaha, while they have made gains in certain areas in terms of the engine development, you know, their race pace is quite consistent. He says their one lap time attack pace that has hampered them throughout 2022 and 2023 still hasn't been fixed yet, and it's a big concern for Yamaha because we've covered it in the past on other videos. In race mode, they actually have a decent bike in terms of pace. They can, you know, sometimes put a result out and consistently lap at that level compared to other bikes. But the reason that they're struggling so much over the past year and a half is the fact they can't qualify. Fabio Quartararo was so good at qualifying straight away when he jumped up to the MotoGP class in 2019. This is an area, along with what he says the electronics, they need to focus on. He says the electronics is so many years behind everything else that they just have to focus on that and make it their priority. But like we say, it's a difficult track to understand. You know, Malaysia is a very long track, and when you get to circuits like that are shorter, like Sachsenring, it's completely different for each bike. So when we get to Qatar and our next test, it'll be interesting to see if Quartararo is saying the same things. Looking at KTM, we mentioned Brad Binder's consistent pace, a very fast lap time. Looking at Jack Miller, seen pictures of him here. He was testing the aero that we seen Danny Pedrosa testing in the shakedown test. He's got that aero winglet over the front mudguard. Looks like a front wing add-on of an F1 car. Yeah, and Aprilia were also testing out some aero with Oliveira, Vinales and Espargaro. There's some pictures here of them three all on track at the same time, staying quite close to each other. So I can imagine they were trying some sort of dirty air / slipstream sort of testing for their aerodynamics. As I said yesterday, a fairly normal day of testing. There was no dramas for Marc Marquez. He didn't have any electronic issues or tech issues with the bike. Logged the most laps. But Enea Bastianini, there's a real sense that I think he's got the marker down for the fast lap. And I think that's given him great confidence knowing that he has a run at this year. And hopefully he can stay fit. And like I said yesterday, Pecco Bagnaia, he always finds a way to come back. And today, he looked really good in terms of the things that I've seen. Looking at his lap times, the world champion's in a good place. Same for Jorge Martin. But yeah, for all the coverage, head to Crouch.net and we'll have everything covered from rider debriefs to reports. Follow us on social media for all the latest videos, pictures, you name it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you next time.